Yeah, we're almost there, and we got a little bit to talk over right now, so we're just going to step right into it and talk a little bit about how the Hoosiers did last weekend at the Mike Berticelli Memorial Tournament. See, the Hoosiers traveled up to South Bend last week to take on the likes of Cal Poly in San Diego and left the annual classic with 2 wins and 2 shutouts, Zan.
Yeah,
With all the rain coming down, you already know that the balls are going to be moving slow. It might be a little bit hard to get the ball up in the air, too, so I'm curious to see how that plays out. The wind coming in, that's just going to be brutal for the players down there. It's going to get a little bit chilly, too. They got to be wearing their long sleeves.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, like last year, like you said, they played Stanford. They had Cal, 2 top 25 teams. So that was obviously very fun to watch. Has Indiana ever scored 15 goals in a game before? I don't want to stretch it that far, but when you compare a team who's ranked number 4, number 7 in the polls right now to a team last year that finished outside of the top 60 in RPI, you really have a feeling that Indiana's going to crush this one. I say that they start off the season 3-0, calling a 3-0 win for the Hoosiers. 3rd straight shutout for the freshman Trey Muse. Yeah, we know the Hoosiers right now, they're riding a 3-game win streak. They're going to try to make it 4 today in a few minutes when they get ready to face off against Miami. But before we dive into today's match, let's survey the early portion of the season.
Yeah,
it's just really big start to the season for the Hoosiers. Having 3 straight matches against top 25 teams. I don't know what Coach Janney was thinking about doing that, but it's really just making the team stronger because during this 3-game win streak, they're outscoring their opponents 9-4. And you really only think that it's going to get better for them, especially next week they go off against number 6 Maryland.
Yeah, Coach Janney.
Well, you got to love the play from Sierra Girard. Of course, you mentioned it, Big Ten Offensive Player of the Week. She's leading the Hoosiers right now with 5 goals. And then the play from El Hempt, scoring her first 2 goals of the season last week, while leading the Hoosiers in assists with 3 on the season as well. 2 really strong players that you have up front, Zan. It's really going to be fun to watch this team play out. I'm excited for today's match, but it's also going to be a little bit more hype for that number 6 matchup against Maryland next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was a really fun start to the game, and really good to see the Hoosiers pick up a win after that tough loss against Ohio State last week. So let's start everything off in the first quarter. No scoring on the board in the first quarter. It ended up 0-0, and Richard Lago had a tough start, ended up going 3 for 10 with just 24 yards and an interception. He got pulled after the first series in the second quarter, and that's when IU's hot freshman came on, Zane.
Yeah,
that was a really fun game to watch. Whenever you got a top 10 matchup like that, you have to tune in. And really, the Hoosiers controlled most of the game. They had 6 shots on goal. Maryland didn't have any, but it was Dane St. Clair, the goalie from Maryland, that was really causing havoc for Indiana. Yeah, Dane St. Clair is like Odell Beckham III. He even had the hair. He was reaching out, making the one-handed saves. The guy's an athlete. Hello, everyone. We are live from inside the Cuban Center, inside Simon Scott Assembly Hall. I'm Griffin Weinberg, this is Austin Matricardi, and this is the Big Ten Student U pregame show. Now we're just about 15 minutes away from the start of Indiana taking on Rutgers at Bill Armstrong Stadium. And it's going to be the start of a 4-game homestand for the Hoosiers, and 6 of the next 7 matches are going to be here in Bloomington. Now, before we go ahead and talk about the number 2 ranked Hoosiers and their match tonight, let's go ahead and recap a little bit of what's happened so far in the season this past weekend. IU currently sitting with a record of 5-0-2. And they are 1-0-2 in Big Ten play after picking up their first win against Northwestern this past Sunday. Yeah, in that game against Northwestern, it was the freshman Mason Toy and junior Corey Thomas, each picking up 1 goal and 1 assist, and Trevor Swartz got in on the action with an assist as well. And so far in the season, the Hoosiers, they have 5 shutouts, only given up 2 goals so far through 7 matches. The first time both of those instances have happened since the 1993 season. So you know that you're really building something special with the freshman goalie Trey Muse back there, really holding his own. Now, earlier this week, our own Eddie Cotton caught up with head coach Todd Yeagley to talk about the state of the team so far and what to expect in tonight's matchup. Dropping 3 straight sets is always difficult, especially to start the Big Ten season. But, of course, the Hoosiers will always find a way to bounce back. After you said it, 11-2 to start the year, 9-0 to start the season earlier on. It's the first time that they've done that in back-to-back seasons in program history. Now let's shift it to the women's soccer team a little bit because they're going to be back home this Saturday against Purdue for the first time in nearly a full calendar month. They traveled up to Michigan this past weekend, a couple of Big Ten matches, defeated Michigan State 1-0. Then they went to Michigan on Sunday where they fell 2-1. Chandra Davidson was the lone goal scorer for the Hoosiers this weekend with both goals. She now has 5 on the season so far, pacing the Hoosiers. And I caught up with head coach Amy Burberry earlier this week to talk about the team's history and what to expect this Saturday night. Yeah, see, I'm looking forward to that Notre Dame matchup because that could be number 1 versus number 2 in the country. So why not go out? Indiana's going to win 5-0 tonight. Set up that big matchup for next Tuesday because that is going to be one of the best soccer matches of the season. All right, so if you're not already headed up to Bill Armstrong Stadium, head over to btn2go.com to listen to the soothing voices of Eddie Cotton, Pat White, and Julia Briano. For Austin Matricardi, I'm Griffin Weinberg. Thank you for tuning into the pregame show today. Go watch some men's soccer.